The wind snatched at Oradein's cloak, pulling it tight around her as she crested the final rise. Before her stood the great mountain, Oros, whose peak was so lost in the clouds that even its shape was a mystery. Only a veil of mist hung from its slopes, hiding what lay above. Below, the village clung to the mountain's foothills, a collection of sturdy homes and worried faces. Oradein had returned to her home village, a place she had left as a child, unaware that one day she'd hear its name spoken with such fear. They called this mountain a volcano, a place where fire slumbered beneath layers of rock and dust. And every so often, when no one was looking, it exhaled hot breath, shaking the ground and scorching the crops of poor farmers who dared live nearby. The elders said it was a sleeping beast, best to leave undisturbed. For generations, people had heeded these warnings, respecting the mountain's wrath from afar. But Ora had never been one for heedless obedience. Not when it came to Oro. Her grandmother's tales of bravery and adventure had sparked something in her soul. She wanted to understand the mountain, to look into its fiery eyes and ask why. So now she stood at its base, its heat pressing against her skin, its presence thrumming in her bones. Some might have crumbled at such power, but Oradein felt only the call of the unknown, tugging at her like an unanswered question. Her hand brushed the rough bark of a tree, and the world shifted. It was a subtle change, like the first note of a familiar tune, but it was enough. Ora closed her eyes, breathing deeply, letting the mountain's song wash over her. And then she felt it again, a vibration that ran through the earth and resonated in her very core. It was the heartbeat of the mountain, slow and deep. Like a slumbering giant, its pulse was steady, a comforting rhythm that belied the chaos it could unleash. And Ora knew instinctively that this was where her journey began. Ora opened her eyes, meeting the mountain's gaze. There was something between them now, a connection forged in the heart of the earth. She felt the pull of the unknown grow stronger, urging her to go further. With a determined nod, she started up the rocky path, each step carrying her deeper into the mountain's embrace. As she climbed, the air grew warmer, the scent of pine shifting to something sharper, like ozone after a summer storm. The trees thinned, revealing a landscape sculpted by fire and time, a stark beauty that both challenged and captivated her. But it was a heartbeat that kept her going, its steady pace echoing her own resolve. After what seemed like hours, the path leveled, opening into a vast cavern. And there, rising from the center, was a sight that stole Oradein's breath away. A towering crystal, tall as a redwood and wider than any doorway, pulsed with a soft, ethereal light. Its facets shimmered, throwing dancing shadows on the cave walls and illuminating a scene that defied belief. Around the crystal gathered tiny figures, luminous beings with forms like flickering flames and eyes that burned with inner fire. They moved with a mesmerizing grace, gliding around the crystal and weaving patterns of light and heat. As Ora watched, mesmerized, one of the beings turned, sensing her gaze. Its eyes, pools of molten gold, locked onto hers, and in that moment, a jolt of recognition shot through her, connecting her to this place, to this moment. With a graceful sweep of its arm, it beckoned, and Ora, her curiosity overriding any flicker of fear, stepped forward. As she approached, the being's form solidified, taking shape like hardening lava, cool and smooth. Its face, etched with wisdom and a hint of sadness, turned to her, and in a voice that echoed with distant echoes, it spoke. "Welcome, Oradein. We have been expecting you." Startled, Aura found her voice. "Expecting me? But how?" The being's gaze held hers. "The mountain chose you, child of the village. It has whispered your name on winds of change, calling you to this place of fire and heart." "Why?" Aura asked, her voice echoing in the vast space. "Why have I come here?" The being regarded her with eyes that seemed to hold ancient knowledge. "Because within you burns the same spark that animates us, the essence of Oro, the volcano. You have come to learn the language of fire, the heartbeat of the mountain." Aura's mind reeled. She, a descendant of the mountain? But how? The being sensed her confusion and gestured to the pulsing crystal. "This is the heart of Oro. It connects us, all of us who carry the blood of the mountain. And you, Aura, are our kin, a long-lost ember seeking the warmth of its hearth." As the being spoke, more memories flickered within Aura, fragments of a past life, a heritage she never knew. She remembered a time when she wasn't afraid of the mountain, when she played at its base without a care. She saw her ancestors, strong and wise, tending to fields and drawing power from the very earth. But she also saw fear, the fear that eventually drove them away, severing their connection to the land and to each other. "We were once one with the mountain," she whispered, more to herself than to the being. The being nodded, "until fear took root and the bond was broken. But the mountain remembers, and so do we. We are the guardians of Oro. And you, Aura, are the key to rekindling what was lost." Hope flared within her, chasing away the last embers of doubt. If she truly was connected to the mountain, maybe she could help her people bridge the gap that fear had created. But how? What did the mountain want from her? The being, as if reading her thoughts, extended a hand, its touch surprisingly cool. "Come," it said, "let us show you the truth of Oro." Aura placed her hand in theirs, and in that instant, the world exploded in a rush of fire and light. She cried out as images seared into her mind, searing memories of a time long past. She saw her ancestors at the height of their power, living in harmony with the mountain, drawing strength from its heart and giving thanks for its bounty. She felt the joy of their dances, the thrill of their hunts, the comfort of their homes nestled at the foot of Oro. But she also saw the shadow that lurked on the horizon, the darkness that threatened to consume them all. Then she saw the choice, the moment when her ancestors had to flee or stay and face the coming storm. And in that choice, Aura understood the reason for their fear. In her visions, she had seen the power of the volcano, its awesome destructive force unleashed in a cataclysmic eruption. The memory of that day was seared into the hearts of her ancestors, shaping their culture and their choices for generations. But as the visions faded, Aura felt a new understanding welling up inside her. She realized that the mountain hadn't just shown her their past, it had shown her its past. Aura saw the birth of Oro, how it rose from the earth, a giant of flame and rock. She saw how life sprang up around it, nurtured by its power, drawn to its strengths. And she saw how her ancestors, unknowingly linked to the mountain's fate, settled in its shadow, becoming part of its story. The earth trembled beneath her feet, and Aura knew that the mountain was stirring, waking from its slumber to speak to her directly. And as the guardians parted, she saw the source of the disturbance, a crack in the crystal heart, spewing sparks and wisps of smoke. The crystal, once radiant, was dimming, its light fading like a dying ember. Oro is weakening, one of the beings said, its voice filled with urgency. The link to our kind is fading, and without the crystal's guidance, we cannot endure. Despair threatened to engulf Aura, but she pushed it away. She had come so far, learned so much. She wouldn't fail them now. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward. "What can I do?" she asked, her voice ringing with newfound determination. The being regarded her for a moment, then reached out, touching the fading crystal. "You must reignite the heart of Oro, child of the mountain. Only you can restore the connection and save us all." As the weight of their words sunk in, Oro knew there was no turning back. She looked from the fading crystal to the hopeful faces of the guardians and back again. In her heart, the rhythm of the mountain drummed, urging her, guiding her. Taking a step toward the crystal, Aura raised her arms, channeling the strength that surged within her. Closing her eyes, she focused on the fading light, willing it to return. The guardians joined her, their voices rising in a chant that echoed through the cavern. But as Aura poured her energy into the crystal, she felt resistance, a force that seemed determined to keep her from succeeding. Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but she pushed it aside. She thought of her ancestors, of the guardians, of the mountain itself, and she drew strength from their hopes and dreams. With a final surge of willpower, Aura pushed her fear aside and ignited the crystal heart of the mountain. The cavern erupted in light and warmth as the crystal flared back to life, banishing the shadows and filling the space with vibrant colors. The guardians cheered, their forms shimmering with renewed energy. The crystal heart beat steadily, its light bathing the cavern in a warm glow. The connection was restored, the guardians revitalized. As the cheers echoed around her, Aura felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. She had listened to the mountain's song, faced her fears and bridged the divide of ages. Looking up at the radiant crystal heart, she knew that Oro, the volcano, was watching, waiting for the next chapter in their shared story to unfold. Comment, like and subscribe for more stories with lessons.